Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour Podcast.
Yes, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 225. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you're doing well. I'm fucking not, but enough about me. Brian, how are you doing?
If it makes you feel any better, I got a lot of foam in my beer.
I mean, that's the real crime that's going on, isn't it?
I mean, listen. I'm the victim.
Yep.
You got a lovely new piece of decor behind you. It looks like a ladder or a pallet. I can't tell what it is.
It's kind of just a bunch of wood that got turned into a makeshift shelf that was in my utility room. While I was getting my heater done, that had to get ripped out because that was in the way. The heater's not done yet, so they got to come back Saturday. So that's going to be staying there for the next couple days.
Jim. Listen, new home ownership. It's always fun, right?
Every day's a blessing, Brian.
Jim.
I just wake up in the morning, see that beautiful sunshine, and go, again.
Well, Jim, I mean, hey, we're so damn close to the actual start of NFL. We got fall. At least now it won't be balls hot weather.
Brian, actually, speaking of, don't be too surprised if I lose a little bit of track because I have a fantasy draft in 40 minutes.
God damn it.
I'm just going to do like the first. I want to do like the first 4 rounds and then just auto draft the rest. It doesn't fucking matter.
Is that your third or fourth?
Second. I still have to get the other third one in before season starts on Thursday. Is that tomorrow?
Jim,
2 days.
You should just do yourself a favor and just don't do it.
I should just do myself a favor and kill myself. That's what I should just do.
But Jim, how can you get to the pearly gates and see your family again?
Yeah, there's always that fly in the ointment, I guess.
Well, Chambers, here's the real question for you. What are you drinking your pain away with tonight?
I just got some Coors Light. I have some fancy stuff in there. I gotta see if my mice got into that. So, probably didn't get in any beer though. So I'll see what's going on in there. Yeah, I just got some good old silver bullets to ease the pain away. It's also balls hot out,
dude.
So it's nice to have a nice light beer just to sit, drink, and enjoy, and not be like too heavy.
It's been how many days of basically perfect weather, and then today it's just like boom, fucking 90s, and it's gonna be like that for the next couple days. I'm like, go the fuck away, summer. Nobody wants you anymore. Like, you're done. Get the fuck out of here. I hate it.
Yeah, September. Fuck off. But.
God. Well, I am in the appropriate mentally month, but obviously weather-wise this doesn't work. So I went with the Landscape series from Industrial Arts Brewing Company, their Winter Landscape Lager. It's a Munich-style Dunkel. This is going to be interesting. I didn't notice this. It was packaged on November 11th of 2021.
Ooh, aged to perfection.
Just bought it today, so can't wait.
La-da-da.
Part of the reason why I got the can is...
Brian, those lightsabers.
I mean, kind of looks like lightsabers going across a prism of some sort. I don't know. Reminded me of Starfield, hence the also Fallout shirt, which we can talk about in a minute. But brewed with 100% NYS ingredients. What the fuck is NYS? Supporting local farms, supply chain, and our environment. So it's from New York. Nothing else. 5.4% alcohol. So it is a...
Ooh, dark boy.
It's a, Jim, what's Dunkel mean?
Dark.
There you go. See?
Learning.
It's got that kind of sea
10
foam,
years.
and
10
you
years
probably can't see it great, but it is not going away. Like, it's that, like, very, like, frothy shit like this.
Oh, wow. Dude, that's like... Holy shit.
It's like a milkshake or something.
Yeah, for those listening on the audio, that is just like straight foam. That's not even like normal head.
I'm trying to just let it go down because I don't feel like cleaning the shit. But yeah, from 2021.
It's like a light whipped cream almost.
Yes. No, fuck it. I want to take a sip. Not bad, but still surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, kind of flat. Coming from 21.
You think after 2 years?
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll give it its go. But Chambers, I know there's really no point in asking.
Haven't touched a goddamn thing. 2 weeks in a row. Haven't even booted up a single fucking thing.
But we did play a game together on Saturday.
We did. We
Sunday?
did get together.
Sunday
into Monday. Yeah, these
Yeah.
holiday weekends always throw you off. Oh yeah, happy Labor Day, everybody. Belated. But yeah. Well, we got together and played good old drunk history. Even though it just turned into drunk general trivia knowledge.
I mean, we had to give the girls a break. As we've established, women are the D students of history, you know? They are not good with history questions. There was still a lot of ones where I'm pretty sure there's moments of you just... The amount of head shakes from you.
Yep. A lot of times where I just turn to the side and go, fuck, what? My favorite was there was one answer that my wife gave that even your wife turned around and went, wait, what? What did you just say?
There was some noodle scratchers, but yeah. So I figured, I know you and I spoke.
The both of them had some gold, but
they did.
Yeah, it was quite the night.
Yeah. But yeah. So I have been playing games, and more particularly a game. So
The game.
Wait,
Brian, I have to ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pay $30 extra to play it early?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Does that come out of like your total at the end, or is that like an extra $30 on top?
I didn't
of the
pay
price?
anything for the game, so it's free on Game Pass. So I just paid $30 just so I could play it earlier. So it's basically the way I looked at it, and you know me, Jim. If I get excited about something, I want to play it as soon as possible. And then plus, I knew I was going to have time to stream, so I was like, I want to jump on this while I can. With the holiday weekend, I was like, I'll get a lot of time in the game. So $30 is a no-brainer. I wasn't going to drop the $90 or whatever it is. I don't know how long it's going to be free on Game Pass. This will be a game I'll gladly go out and just buy, though. I'll say that. So, yeah, $30
Enjoying it, huh?
Oh, dude. So, I mean, you never played Fallout 4, right?
Nah, I never got around to it.
But you know how I feel. You and I think have the same feelings about Bethesda games. They suck you in. They suck you in hard. And, yeah, I think the last time I checked, I'm 21 hours into it. This is not an understatement when I say I barely probably got through 1% of the game at 21. Like, it's...
Damn.
But you also, you know me. Like, the amount of, like... It's a game that, like, it really... From everyone who says it, there is a reason why they say it. There'll be no spoilers here. You gotta play the main quest at least a little bit deeper, because that's kind of like how you unlock certain, like, oh, this is how you do this, or this is a feature, blah, da, 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 da. It's not one of those ones like every other RPG where you're like, yeah, I'll just now do all side shit and do it later. But there's so many little activities that you're used to from Bethesda games, but on top of that, there's that element kind of like from No Man's Sky, where you can like go on any planet. Yes, there's thousands of them. But essentially, like, you have a scanner, and you can like scan all the plants, the animals, and the resources, and that gets you progress points, and actually a lot of them, and it can get you money. So there's lots of reasons to do it, plus just discovering shit. I've been actually watching a ton of reviews of it, and I've been seeing reactions to that game, and
one we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, well, it's just the amount of bitching that's going on in this game that I find very unfounded. Like, some people are bitching, they're like, it's too easy to fast travel. Which I was like, when has that ever been an issue? And they're like, but I can't land my plane myself. I'm like, I don't care about, like, I see planet, I hit spot where I want to land, and it lands. It shows you a little cutscene. But people aren't happy about that. They're like, I want to be able to pull onto the planet myself. I'm like, why? Like, they're procedurally generate.
I mean, there is something fun about being able to do that. And other games have done it.
Sure.
Like, even if I remember correctly, I think even Starlink, you could like fly through the atmosphere and land your fucking thing. And that was just like a Skylanders claim.
Yeah, and they had that in No Man's Sky, but once again, every single thing in those worlds were procedurally generated, so it didn't matter. There's no, like, heart and soul to those things. Whereas here, yes, there are a lot of, like, random moons and whatever that are procedurally generated, but there's a lot that, like, they have those very specific, like, you're supposed to go here to here to here, so it's not meant to be that high of a level. But like I said, I'm trying to debate, like, do I give a review, a first impressions, or response to other reviewers? Because I want to dive deeper into that, but at the end of the day, I'm loving the game. It's got stories and things that, like, really catch me off guard. Like, you know, very early on, you do a very simplistic Bethesda-style mission where it's like, go find switches to figure out where the power's getting routed to through this city. And as I'm doing that, I just happen to come across a door that was locked. I was like, let me go in there. Turns out this dude is, like, murdered on the ground. You're like, what the fuck happened here? Then this giant robot dog comes out, and you're like, what the fuck? You have to end up killing it, and you find out, like, through digging through his shit, like, basically he screwed over a guy who he bought that from, and the guy activated it and killed him. Like, little things like that, I don't know, make those games so much more enjoyable for me. So, yeah, no, I am beyond loving the game. I can't wait to get deeper into it. It's, man, is it gonna fuck up my 23? Like, I will beat this game, at least the main quest. I'm committed to still beating Legend of Zelda, but my God, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making it. I know I'm not
getting
far
around to
away.
Zelda this year.
No, I'm at the point now with that game where, like, it's to the point now where I'm thinking about it, like, what I have to do next. So I'm like, you know what? Just to scratch that itch, I've set it up out in the in my basement area on that TV out there. Mm-hmm. So when Logan comes over and steals my Xbox and I can't do Starfield, I'll be like, all right, I guess I'll go do Legend of Zelda for a little while. I just want to keep progressing, just enough to get it over with. See, is it really worth all the goddamn praise? But
are you Adult Link yet?
No, like, I think last time we talked,
Christ, Brian, you're barely in the game.
Jim, we've established that. How many dungeons do you go through before you come on Adult Link?
3.
So I'm coming up to the 3rd one. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Right. I just imagine you, like, boot up the game, walk like 10 feet, and go, all right, had my fill. Save, close.
Basically, when if I get a good session in, I commit to, I'm going to get to a dungeon and finish it. But there's all the in-between shit with that game, right? Like, where it's like, okay, I need to find another heart piece. I need to, like, I just got more of the stupid-ass Ocarina notes from, what's her face? The chick with the horse. I got the horse's theme.
Pona's owner. All right, I forget her name.
Yeah, whatever it is. And basically, like, I got that theme. So there's, like, moments where I'm like, okay, I don't need this right this second. I'm sure it's important later on, but, like, I need to do that because the goddamn Navi's like, I wonder what this person thinks about you trying to do this now, which is, like, their way of... And it's bad when I'm traveling around for a while and, like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going, and the owl comes up. He's like, you should try going here. I'm like, fuck you. So, yeah, that game is... I can't wait to be done it. But that's where my playing. I mean, since we last talked, I didn't play a single amount of Legend of Zelda. It's just been Starfield and a little Texas Chainsaw because it was only like a day before I got Starfield since we last talked. So, yeah, that's basically been the crux of my time. But I do want to say I've been a little more consistent now, and I want to keep doing it. Doing the streaming, and I want to thank everyone once again who came out on Twitch, watched me. It seems like Thursdays are good. I'm going to knock on wood with that. But now that I got a game that every time I set up to stream, I have to kind of reset up my whole configuration. But now it's like set in that path. So that's my like go-to now. So I will be streaming again, but a lot of our awesome patrons did stop by, which I always truly, truly appreciate. And Chambers, what questions we got this week from them?
Yes, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. I guess quick show notes. No Krusty Corner this week because I couldn't think of one because I'm just done with today. But
Jim's done with everything right now.
I can at least do this for you guys. First up from Todd Howard Sucks. Would you rather have telekinesis or telepathy? Hope you guys had a good Labor Day.
I'll let you go first, Chambers.
It's a tough one. Because, like, telekinesis would be so handy. Like, just never have to move to do anything. Just be like, pick this up, get it over there. Where's the remote? Come to me. Vroom. Shit like that. Don't feel like doing any work in the bedroom, just diller from across the room. It's so goddamn handy.
God damn it, Jim.
There's so much you can do with it, Brian. The possibilities are endless. But then again, telepathy though, being able to read minds. It's like, It's like there's no hiding shit from anyone at that point. But then but then you're learning stuff you probably didn't want to know in the first place.
Well, here's my question with
for everything I'm going to confirm that I know that people are saying about me, I'm going to hear a lot more shit that I didn't want to hear in the first place.
Is there anything telepathy that would be non-nefarious?
No, absolutely not.
Like, there's no, like, whereas telekinesis, like you said, you'd basically be making your life easier with whatever you wanted to do with it. And in theory, I would almost argue, not saying, like, if you woke up tomorrow and actually had that power, I'm not saying you would go out and actually try to do good with it or become a superhero. But
I would do no good with it.
But you could, right? Whereas telepathy, the best case, you could become a world-class interrogator. You could win in, like, poker tournaments. You could, like, do stupid... But, like, once again, it's all nefarious, like, self-serving shit. There's nothing that would, like, really do that good. So I feel like telekinesis has to be the answer. Now, my question is it low level, or is there, like, is it like you could pick up a car level shit? Like, what's the weight limit on your telekinesis?
Yeah, are you like a starter Jedi, or are you like picking up X-Wings and shit like that? Because that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so let's say you did have...
Like, why not go full Gary and just have, like, all the power when it comes to that?
Well, that's my point. Say you had that level of power. You still don't think you're going to waste it now on being good? Whereas, say it's only the amount of things you could lift, like, with your own muscles. So for you... Then it would just be like, I'm just doing shit around the house.
Give me telepathy. Jesus. Telekinesis is wasted on me.
But if it is like that master level, like you can basically lift giant vehicles, all this shit. Do you think you would try to go out of your way then to do good stuff?
Maybe, because really, unless you're like trying to be a superhero with it, what the fuck are you going to do with that kind of power?
I mean...
Like, you're going to have to hide it. Or you're just
would you actively go out, try to, like, stop crime? Or would you, like, what, do you think you'd do some bad shit?
I don't know. The bad shit would be very, very tempting.
Oh, even with telepathy.
I don't think I should have any kind of power. I think that's what I'm starting to learn from this.
What is the power where you can control someone's mind? That's not telepathy, right? Telepathy is just reading mind.
Yeah, I thought telepathy is just reading mind. Just mind control, I guess.
Yeah. That would be a very dangerous one. That would be...
that might be like the really high level telepathy, like, Professor X kind of shit.
Yeah. See, I looked at telepathy strictly as...
Like low level Jean Grey, just like, I can read what you're saying.
I can read what you're saying, yeah. But
or I can talk to your brain without talking, but I can't control you.
But man, if it was Professor X level mind control...
Ooh.
You got to go with that, right? And once again, that's another one where that is so dangerous. like, yes, you could, like, in theory, if you do.
Hey, I want
like
a raise. You don't deserve a raise. I think I do.
Yeah, well, that it'd be shit like that. It'd be like, oh man, this person is an awful terrorist. Maybe I could change their mind. Like, you could do some crazy shit. But yeah, both.
Oh my God, Hitler raises puppies now. Look at what you did.
Damn it, Jim. It's funny because I was talking to my wife about this
Evil
question,
puppies.
And she threw one at me, and I was like, it's not even a comparison. She's like, would you rather be able to fly or, like, have the Ant-Man power to shrink?
Fly.
I was like, well, can I grow giant? and go into the quantum realm? She's like, no, just like shrink. I was
What?
like, then no, of course fly.
Women are terrible at this game.
So I asked her, and I guess I'll ask you, would you rather be able to swim as fast as like Superman flies underwater and go to the deepest depths without any pressure or
Why
loss
couldn't
of
you just say
oxygen?
like Aquaman? Why'd you be like,
Okay,
it's based
so
on Superman
yes,
flying?
so Aquaman, or have the ability to fly in space, but basically you can't go outside our solar system.
Ooh, that's interesting. Because there's a lot of cool, there's a lot of cool shit in both. I'd probably have to go space.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I think space is cooler.
Just because I'd want to see like, all right, let me actually see what. Well, I guess I have to caveat that though. Like if you're,
But like you go at like the very bottom of like the Marianas Trench and shit like that, and see like all the undiscovered shit that's down there still. Like
that's
that
what
would
I
be
mean.
wild.
Like yeah, and it's just if you're swimming that fast, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go to Europe real quick. You know, you're just over there.
And then again, you got to caveat it too, because then it's like you got to assume that you can breathe in space and you can survive all the harsh climates and shit like
Well,
that.
what I was gonna say is yes, you can, yes to all
Like,
that.
am I just gonna land on Jupiter and be like, "Hey, a rock"?
Well, that's kind of the question, right? Like, you could go see other planets, but that's the caveat is you're
If
not.
it's just our
flying
solar
at-
system, there's like dog dick nothing there too. You could
That's-
find some
yeah.
cool shit in the ocean.
There you go. Think of all the metal you could scrap.
Oh my god, so much metal.
But I do always love those questions of like, if you could get a superpower, like if you could fly, even think about that. I started breaking it down. I was like, what if I'm not like able to withstand I'm flying at like 80 miles an hour and a bird flies into me? Like, is it gonna fuck me up? like what?
Right, exactly.
You know, so there's a lot of caveats. Like, would flying be that awesome unless you could withstand at least some level of punishment?
Yeah, do you have like that Z Fighter little aura of like ki around you that like blocks anything
Something,
from hitting
yeah.
you and shit like that?
Yeah. But flying would be pretty goddamn sweet.
Just give me like a Green Lantern ring, then you get like everything.
Stop trying to cheat, Jim.
Right, it's so cool. You just need the willpower. Actually, I'd be a Red Lantern because that's just based on anger. And oh boy, man, I would run that fucking core.
God, it's like, why are all Jim's Green Lanterns things just dicks? Oh God, I'm thinking of the things you would create. Oh God,
Oh my god, I've never seen titties that big.
I do love that question though. Great question. You know me, Jim. I'm a fan of hypotheticals.
Oh yeah, we love them here. And last up from JD Mains, should console exclusives be excluded from Game of the Year awards? Huh.
I do believe that there should be a separate category. There should be a console exclusive category and then a, cross-platform. Just because then it would be a little more interesting. Because here's the deal. Every year, like this year, even though I'll say this completely unbiased, I don't know how I'm going to feel about Starfield at the end. But between the anticipation, what it's paying off and everything, it's at least going to be in the running for Game of the Year. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Legend of Zelda that wins. Like, I think everyone knows it's going to be Tears of the Kingdom. Unless
there's a lot of contenders. There's Baldur's Gate, there's Starfield, there's Tears of the Kingdom. I know something else was like really big for a bit. I think Diablo 4 might have been this year too. Like there's a lot of big name games.
So there'll be big names, but once again, then it would be interesting because then if you get rid of Starfield and Legend of Zelda, it's like, well, what cross-platform is really the best? So I don't think they should be excluded. Like I said, I just wish they were separated so you could, because like especially every time Nintendo does a Mario or Zelda game, it's almost gonna always be a lock, right? Like it's tough
a contender.
not to. Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Like all the new Super Mario Bros. No one gave a shit about those.
I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like major releases.
Yeah,
Those
like Odyssey, like Wonder. Wonder's coming out this year. That's coming out soon. So there's another contender right there, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think you got to include them, right? Like just because they're still just that big, and even if any individual console has an exclusive, like back in the day when Last of Us was still exclusive, there's no doubt. I do believe it deserved to win Game of the Year. So it would be silly to have excluded that from the list. But as Jim and I have said, I mean, you even look at the way those gaming awards happen in general. It's all questionable. I'll put it like that.
Oh yeah, I mean they're all bullshit anyway. Like it doesn't matter, but I mean, I guess what do you call it? If I had to really, yes, I don't think you should exclude games that are console exclusive from Game of the Year. Like the best game is the best game. If some people can't play it, then boo-hoo, too bad.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get around to everything. No one's gonna get around to everything. Now, would it be a more all-encompassing thing? Yeah, sure, but
and I mean, video games in general are still such a in their infancy level of like taking them seriously that winning game of the year really doesn't mean anything. I don't think it's not like when a book wins an award or a movie. I don't think like Legend of Zelda winning game of the year is all of a sudden going to sell a whole bunch more Legend of Zeldas. I think it's already sold what it's going to sell. So I don't think anyone's ever been like, ooh, I got to play that game of the year just because it won game of the year.
Yeah, true. Like, I think that more helps like little indie games when they get nominated.
Just because, awareness.
Right, because they're like, oh, this game's up here with all these big titles. This must be something good. But, yeah, outside of that, yeah, I don't think it really matters all that much.
Yeah. No, it's a good question, though. But, yeah, I'd say keep them in. Keep the competition as open as possible.
Yeah, because, yeah, you know why.
Damn it, Jim.
My brain's so fucking broken.
But no, thank you for the question, bud. I truly appreciate it. And thank you all for the questions.
Yep. Yeah, we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, show note. So last minute thing came up and we couldn't record the bonus episode last week, so we're going to try and do it again this week. So hopefully tomorrow.
We shall see.
We shall see. Life.
All right, Chambers. So, according to California, you and I may have already come over the limit for the amount of beer we should have in a given week. And you know who we need? We need a spokesperson to fight against this legislation.
Right. Do we need a hero? Do we need a guy to step up?
You know what we need? We need someone. We need a blue collar guy. And what better than a guy actually wearing a blue collar in Ted Cruz in this goddamn. Cringe isn't even the right word. Like, this ad, and I'll be playing the video as we speak. You won't hear it, but click the link below to really hear it for yourself. It's as bad as it looks. Jim, why don't you explain what the whole reason he decided to get his camera crew and all these guys in cowboy hats and trucker hats right behind him? Why is he doing this?
This was almost the gayest video I saw this week. So
I like how you caveat that with almost.
Don't worry, Brian. We're gonna get to the one that beats it out. So, yeah, there was an article that was concerning recommendations for Americans, and I think we kind of talked about it before. It seems like Fox News is just catching up to this, or maybe someone brought it out. So, apparently, the director of the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, the NIAA, Dr. George Koob, has said that the U.S. may follow Canada and recommend just 2 beers a week. So, basically, it's a suggestion at this point from this institute. It's not like a thing that's actually going in or anything real, or it's going to be a law or any bullshit like that. So, of course, Fox News decided to run with it because it came from the Joe Biden camp. So, destroy America and take your guns and rape your kids. So, yeah, apparently they are all trying to do this, culture war bullshit. And Ted Cruz, like the colossal F-slur that he is on there trying to portray himself as like a man of the people with like the worst part. The absolute worst part of this video is when he's like, I say that they can kiss my ass, and he like holds up a beer, and then like all the cowboys behind him also hold up a beer on cue, and they start like opening it and start drinking it. And then the Fox News correspondent has a non-alcoholic beer. Man, what a totally non-staged thing. How sly and matter of fact and natural that this all came off as. Like, oh my god.
Well, Jim, There's a few things about this video that...
Right, good thing he had a good... How dare you, Ted Cruz, bring Shiner Brock into this? You leave Shiner out of this, you fucking monster.
Hey, if there was a silver lining, he's helping people who might not recognize Shiner for what it is. That is a good... You know what? I'm going to give him this. He picked a good beer. Does he ever actually drink it outside of this? Probably not. But...
He's Richard Nixon from The Simpsons. He's literally just like, and I'm also a fan of that particular beer.
Yeah. What I love in this is, as I said...
Doesn't know anything about this shit.
He's literally wearing blue collar. He has, like, the cowboys, the truckers, the workers behind him. You are the guy in the red shirt behind him, though, because as they're all waiting for their cue to sip the beer, the guy just takes a sip, like, before everyone else and just doesn't give a fuck when they all do it. He's
Man
just
after my heart.
He's just like, I don't care. But to Jim's point, and we have all the links below, so, yes, they are going to probably go the way of saying, here's our suggested, when they're using the term limit, they're just saying... If you've ever been to a doctor and saying, like, things are going whatever, doctors in general are going to be like, well, how much do you drink a week? And if, they're going to say, well, you probably should only do about 2 beers a week. If you want to avoid any chance of it being, as the article goes on to say, like, if you're having multiple drinks, then, yeah, you increase your potentials for cancers, for other diseases, liver issues. If you're only at 2 beers a week, it's not guaranteed, but it's like much higher that you won't have any of those issues. So that's why that's suggested. So yeah, they're not suggesting they're going to take those away or saying you're only allowed. It's like, do whatever the fuck you want. But if you want a suggestion, the same way, if you look at the old school food pyramid, nowadays you'd go, well, that's fucking off. Like, those things
the food
change.
pyramid's complete bullshit these days.
Yeah, and the same way for a while, like, cigarettes weren't bad for you. Turns out that was just marketing. Like, it's that same idea. If anyone actually drinks beer...
Right, to be fair, is anything that delicious really that bad for you?
If you take in small quantities, no, Jim. Most things aren't. Well, I don't know. Hard drugs probably are. I'm gonna make a guess that anything
it's
that
a little
could
heroin
kill you,
between friends.
anything that could kill you in a 1 in 20 chance is probably bad for you. I'm just gonna say that.
But it's probably also really fun for you too.
Probably. But yeah, no. The thing with the beer is, yeah, it's a weird, like, I'm against it. And to be fair, the clip that's shown here is like he clearly was talking about a bunch of other shit, and he threw this.
Of course, he threw in Bud Light.
He threw in Bud Light, which. Okay. Like, yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, right? But it's just a really weird, like, why did he waste the effort to do this? So, yeah.
Who watched this? And, well, fucking retards who just watched nothing but Fox News. But, I mean, who watched this and just went, my God, he's right. Look at this man of the people.
Jim, if you were smart, you would have gotten...
this is the same guy who got pegged with a beer bottle and, like, tried to, like, at a rally and tried to get criminal charges thrown at someone. For, like, assault and endangering his life. Like, he's a colossal pussy.
But, Jim, I feel like that's something you would do.
Right. When I got hit with the lemon, did I charge anyone? Did I bring any charges? No.
You never found that perpetrator, Jim.
Right. Precedent. Didn't do it. Didn't happen. Taking that whole school down with me. And if it was current day, I could take that whole school down with me. And Brian, speaking of current day, let's talk about Starfield being fucking woke. How about that?
When I first saw
the big story of the goddamn week.
When I first saw you post this, I thought you were talking about... I did not see this. I saw the shit with Dr. Disrespect and what's going on with him in Starfield. It's completely different. It's nothing about this. So that's why when you first put it, I thought you were mentioning that. I was like, he didn't cry about that. And then when I saw whoever this guy is. So is this guy the actual guy named Dan Vask? Or is
No, the Heels versus... He posted a clip from this Heels versus Babyface guy.
Okay.
Apparently his name is Az or some shit like that. He's... You know what makes this clip a little bit worse for me, Brian?
Go on.
You remember when I had that mishap with the clipper and I basically had to be bald for a couple months?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks like bald me.
I mean, I was actually going to say when I first clicked it, I was like, if you let it go a little, he's got a little bit of pudgier and he's got a bigger nose for sure.
Oh yeah,
he's in your gene pool.
Yeah, he's like a half cousin who got like dropped on the wrong ship and went to the UK.
But here's the other thing, Jim. He's got your anger. I could see you turning on a game and flipping out about something just as seamlessly like stupid. So just to bring everyone up to speed, once again, the video will be playing below. All you're going to see is this guy yelling.
So if you haven't seen the video yet, you probably have by now. And if you haven't, on some small chance, the link will be below. It's this guy, Heels vs. Babyface, and he is screaming for 2.5 minutes into the camera about Starfield having a pronoun option for your character and crying about present day being thrown into the thing and breaking his immersion and all this other bullcrap. Fucking baby dick shit. Who fucking cares? And actually, Brian, to your point about me getting this mad about something in a game, I don't think I've ever been this mad about anything in any game. Even when I cared more, I didn't care enough about this. I used to be happier in general, and I wouldn't have cared. Now I'm miserable, and I still wouldn't care this much about anything in a game.
Jim, knowing you for as long as I have, what's amazing, and it actually contradicts sense, is that your nihilism has gone up significantly, but so is your anger. It's supposed to inverse each other. Like, you don't care about so much shit, but your anger at all times is so much higher. I'm like, but you don't care about shit. Like, it blows my mind. Like, I don't understand that how that's working out.
I'm a question wrapped in an enigma, okay? I can't explain what I am.
But this guy, so here's the deal. He's not the only one. Like, this is pretty fucking extreme, I'll say that. There have been plenty of other people who have made the comments about this, like the pronoun thing in here. Say what you want. I honestly had to rack my brain to remember that it was even a thing.
I was going to say, did you paying to play it early, did you even think a second thought about it?
No. As I was doing creative thing, I'm trying to remember where it is. Like, if it's like when you choose, because at any point you can change the body styles. And I think like I put in my name, I put this. And then I think there was probably something. It was like, do you want pronoun? Like, I don't even think I actually picked. I think it's automatically assigned. Like, if you pick the male body, it's going to say he, him. If you pick the female body, it's saying she, her. But I think there's like a drop-down menu, and I could be fucking this up. But I don't think it was like a
But if you're
thing
fucking it up, that means it's so inconsequential in the overall
That's my
thing.
point. Whatever it was, I'm saying it is very inconsequential. It was, to my knowledge, and once again, maybe I'm wrong because I skipped over it because I don't give a fuck. But I think it was not anything where it stopped you from doing whatever you were doing in the middle of create a character and you had to then select. I don't think it was even that. I think it was like an option in a thing that if you wanted to go over and do. So, very inconsequential. I don't know this guy. I'm just going to say it. There is something about bald, fatter dudes who cover video game stuff. They're all angry. They're all like this. There's a lot of guys I can think of that have the same kind of general aura. And yeah, to get this upset about a video game having pronouns, you know, like,
and it's so fucking stupid because, like, if this was 2016, we would all be like, the same guys here would be rallying and down crying all the exaggerated bullshit that was coming from the left during Gamergate and shit like that, and the SJWs with all that shit and how they were freaking out about everything. Now it's the fucking right doing about the littlest goddamn things and fucking pronouns. And like, you're all retards. All you culture war people are fucking retards, and I hate all of you. Die. Well, I'm sick of all of you.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is, see, Jim, when I see this, I know you at this point have no empathy anymore either. But I see someone like this, and I'm like, all right, clearly if his whole goal of life and enjoyment was focused around a video game, that can't be a good life. Like, if, let's just say whatever your thing is, whatever your one major escapism Say it's beaten off. I don't know. Whatever it is.
And actually, to cut you off real quick, he's whining about his escapism being fucking ruined. What's the escapism you want? For it to be to make a character that's exactly like yourself? Wah! Oh God. Fucking, if you want escapism, be a fucking ladyboy who looks good for once. Fucking, there's your escapism, fatty. Fuck.
I said, I just look at this guy without knowing anything about him. I just clicked his name. He's got a lot of followers. I don't know what he does, but it was definitely an overreaction. I've seen multiple people. And you know what it is, Jim?
And there's
like
there's so many hopping on it
war.
too. There's so many hopping on it too, just for the easy engagement bait too.
Of
and
course.
it's fucking. Oh my God. I'm so tired. I'm so sick of it all.
But this is, as you
I don't
said,
want to be the social media guy anymore. I don't want to find these things.
It's what you said though. It's the culture war. If this was when Trump was in office, if they did something on the right, like. Okay, let's reverse these roles. Say this game was created and there was the option to have a MAGA head. How many lefties playing this game would have had this freak out? The same exact thing. So that's my point.
In a way, we already had it earlier this year with Hogwarts. And I mean, like, I understood the complaint of Hogwarts, but a lot of people with that took it too far too. And it's the same level of stupid and just taking shit too far over an inconsequential part of a video game.
It's all dumb. It's all completely overblown. I see this and I just go, man, this guy's life must blow. If that's what he's most worried about, that sucks for him. That's all I can say. I'm at the point where I say fuck all the people that are like that, but at the same time I also go, wow, man, do something else. Like, I don't know.
I mean, this is
else.
probably just the bullshit that his fucking audience, placates itself to. It's probably just like a quartering light bullshit where he has to complain about the same crap for 15 videos a day to make his living and his millions.
That's my point, right? Like, my question is any of that a character? It didn't seem like a character. It seemed like someone who legit was angry, but maybe that's his shtick. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess as we know, there's much bigger things to worry about out there. So, yeah, guys, play your video games. If you see an option when you're creating a character and it upsets you, just either don't play it or skip over it and move on with your life.
Or if one pronoun gets you this upset, kill yourself. I don't care. I'm fucking done. I don't care anymore.
But Jim, now you're triggering people that get so upset. God forbid you say that.
Good.
All right. Well, Chambers, let's talk about. Okay, it's not exactly in the same vein. Let's talk about this strike that's been going on, the SAG strike.
Right, it's expanding. It's going to hit close to home now.
I mean, so, all right. What is the AFTRA?
SAG Aftra, so the American... I don't know what AFTRA stands for. I gotta... What do you call it?
Well, either way, so it's been in the news long enough. So they've been on strike with major film companies. Essentially, they're arguing, like, anytime there's a strike, they want their writers and everyone to have fair wages. I know I'm probably butchering this. However, this strike that's gone on since July 13th, now the union has a separate contract with major video game makers, including Activision and EA. And the contract was set to expire on November 7th, but was extended for a year. And I meant November 7th last year, but it was extended, and the talks are set to resume on September 26th of this year. So right now, SAG is asking for 11% retroactive increase in rates for video game performers, followed by increases of 4% and 4%, identical to its ask from the film and TV studios. They also want protection from AI, which it says poses a threat to voice and performance capture artists in the video game field. All right. So here's the caveat that I think is very odd. I know there is this legit fear of like AI replacing a lot of things, people, jobs. But especially in video games, like, what if you are a small developer and that is a more viable option to all of a sudden have voice acting to a degree in your game? Like, AI would be a more feasible means, right? Like,
I mean, feasible, yeah.
I don't know. I just look at this like...
Moral? No. Feasible for companies? Yeah, of course.
Well, here's my question.
That's the shitty thing about it.
If I'm playing devil's advocate, why is it immoral to use AI, to use technology, I'll just say, to have voice acting?
Well, if you use AI to replicate an already established voice, then you're taking a job away from that voice actor.
That I would agree with. I'm saying, what if you use AI to generate a nondescript, generalized voice?
I mean, you're still taking the cheap way out and taking a voice away, or taking a job away from an actual voice actor. I mean, if you're going through like a big production where someone can actually get like a good payday from it, yeah, it's kind of shitty that you're not going to, give it to like an actual, some kind of voice talent who could put like some actual character in it instead of basically a robot.
But isn't that the general argument for everything, right? Like, the whole idea of, like, why don't you buy American? Well, because I can get it cheaper from this and this. But people still do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And this same mentality, I'm basically applying this. Now, how many games in general do you think actually use voice actors? Like, the major companies, they use them to a degree, but the chances are, like, say, like, any sports game, the voice acting is usually going to be the announcers themselves, maybe the players sometimes. But for the community that actually does voice acting professionally, like, it's only going to be from your major titles. So that's why I'm saying, like, what if you were a company who you, for one reason or another, can't afford to do that, but you really want to have voice acting in there?
Well, it's actually kind of interesting because a week ago, 2 weeks ago, there's a big to-do about like the small little animator who did like a 5-minute little Scooby-Doo short of their own, and they used AI to generate the voices for it, and people online fucking freaked out. And I think there's like a sliding scale to this because like a little 5-minute clip made by one guy for like what 10 years, 15 years ago would have been like a Newgrounds video. I don't see that as a big deal, and I don't really care. Now, if it's like, a real high-end production with like, an actual job where someone can get paid for it, or like an established character and shit like that, because that'd even go back to the whole stupid Bayonetta fucking fight from earlier in the year. Like, I can see arguments for that. But when it comes to like a real small-scale kind of thing, I don't really care, because they weren't going to really probably be either hiring people anyway, but it's weird. It's one of those weird damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of things.
And that's, and once again, I'm asking questions from devil's advocate. Like, on one hand, I definitely feel for people who are performers in this.
What Brian's saying is fuck actors. That's what Brian's saying.
Well, they're all entitled. But the union itself is also saying they need an on-site medic for video games. And that's for people who are maybe doing stunts and shit. So in that thinking, like, if you decide I don't want to hire actors to do green screen performances for full motion cap, and you can simulate that with CGI and other stuff, are you against that as well? Like, I don't know. This is a weird one. I don't love the idea you're taking jobs away from folks, and that's their livelihood. But I also kind of think, like, once again, I put video games in a different media sex so differently from movies, music, and all these other things that it's so different that it's tough for me to say, like, I don't know. It's fair that they get a fair contract, but if you say eliminate AI, I think that's a part that's going to stop it, right? Like, what does that language say? Is there can you not allow AI at all, or is it designated for, like, if you're a major company, you must employ X amount of real people and can only use X amount of AI?
I mean, it's probably going to be a thing that anyone who uses anyone through the whole SAG Aftra organization. I mean, I don't know how much voice actors get into that, because this is my just ignorance in general, because I don't look into this shit. But, like, I don't know how, like, involved voice actors are, or if this is just more like Hollywood actors who get hired for big budget games like EA and shit like that. So if that's the case, then, you know, all these companies will just say, all right, we're not using these actors. Or if, you know, it'll be a thing where if this is a union job and you're bringing in union voice actors, then you can't use blah, 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 blah. So, of course, there's nothing to stop, like, smaller companies from just going out and doing what they want.
Yeah.
And deal with the little backlash that they might get here and there. I don't know. It's weird. Weird times we're in.
All right, so I just looked it up. Based on the SAG rate sheet, as of 2020, the standard minimum rates for video game voice actors were $902 for a 4-hour session up to 3 voices, and $451 for 1 hour, 1 voice. There's something about hearing you're making $451 for 1 hour of work. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not even gonna try to make the claim it's easy. You gotta have talent to do it. 450, and I get it. That's taxed, whatever. But that's $450 an hour. That's not nothing, right? Like, I thought these guys were making $20 an hour. like I thought it was something really low.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's some good goddamn pay right there. But I guess, you know, again, depending on the union and their comparable rates for, you know, other kind of work, it almost, like, in a way, is kind of legitimizing voice acting and video game work more so, because it's like, hey, you got to pay us, you know, what we're going to pay us for other kinds of things, too. So, in a way, it might be a good thing in the long run for the industry, even though from the capitalist side of things, it is like, you know, it's going to be a bad thing for the big companies, but, I mean, the big companies don't give back to the little guy anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Fuck them.
And they never will, but I'm still, like, I don't know. I just see that, and I'm still going, 450, there has to be something I'm missing, because if you're complaining about 450 an hour, there's a lot of jobs I would do for 450 an hour.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that,
God, yeah.
Like, I don't know. And this goes to the same argument. I'm going to throw this in here too, Jim. Like you're saying, you're like, well, if you look at how much the video game makes and how much voice actors are making in movies and other stuff, it's like, that's such a different scale. The same way you have WNBA players wondering why they're not making as much as NBA players. It's like the amount of revenue generated is so different that you can't compare the two.
Well, yeah. But that is true. But I will say that you could definitely say that video games and the success of a lot of games can be tied to a voice actor. Even though there have been a lot of changes to varying results. Like, I know when David Hayter got kicked off of Metal Gear Solid, you know, they brought in Kiefer Sutherland and everyone's like, you know, this is all right. But that was a whole weird mishmash of fuck-ups going on anyway. It's weird. Like, you know what I think is going to be the really, really big litmus test for this? Excuse me. It's going to be Super Mario Wonder, to bring that up again, because that's going to be the first game without Charles Martinet. So it's going to have a guy who's probably going to sound kind of close to it, but it's not going to be the same guy as before. So now we're going to really see, you know, because up to this point, anytime that there was a controversy about a major voice actor being replaced, there was like a whole kerfuffle about the entire production of the game too. Your Metal Gear Solid 5s, your Bayonetta 3s and shit like that. Where this is the first time going in where it's like, oh yeah, everything's smooth sailing, but hey, there's a different guy for a beloved character now. So I think this will be like the real big litmus test, just to be like, let's see how dedicated people really are with this shit.
And this is where I'm going to disagree with you 100%. Of all the things we've ever rated on a game, the voice acting is at the bare dick bottom of caring of how that game is. If the game plays well, controls well, looks great, has good music, but then the voice acting's a little wonky, I'm not all of a sudden going to be like, well, it was a good game, but that voice actor, my golly, like, no. I'm going to say the Super Mario game will only live or die by its success on if it's a fun game. And even if it's a subpar game, it's going to sell like fucking hotcakes. So, yeah, voice acting, I don't think change. It's not like voice acting for an animated movie, is my comparison. No one's ever bought or not bought a game because they heard the voice acting was bad. The only game that might be applicable for would have been the Telltale games, where it's all narrative driven and it's basically performance. A Mario game is not going to live or die by the performance of the voice actor. Jim, get good picks.
Brian, my picks are so terrible.
It's like ours all over again.
It's a 14-person league. It's like impossible to plan.
But yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I do want everyone to get paid fair. I don't know where this road goes, but I gotta play devil's advocate with all that shit. So we'll follow it, see what actually comes out of it. As we said, in a few weeks, that the discussions are supposed to take place at the end of this month. So we'll follow up back around that time and see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna go somewhere, so we'll see. And I mean, actually, to your point, Bri, at the end of the day, I don't really care that much about voice acting, and that's not going to take away my enjoyment from a game as long as it's a good game. Sometimes that's a charm. So, I don't know. We'll see. A lot of people seem to make a big deal out of it, but at the end of the day, you got to vote with your wallet, and so far, people really haven't.
Of course not, and they never will. But Chambers, in another turn that's pretty sad, actually, Volition, who is known for Red Faction and the Saints Row series, has shut down after 30 years.
Yep.
Excuse me. Which is insane for not being one of the AAA developers.
And like they've always been like a top tier, like B level kind of thing. I mean, like they had Saints Row, they had the glory days of Saints Row. You know,
the last one definitely flopped a little bit.
Oh, the last one killed the fucking entire goddamn studio. So I would say more than a little bit, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that game, but that's neither here nor there. You know what it is? This is the Mr. Perfect of the video game world. They had some great stuff. They're going to be underrated. If you played an old school Saints Row game or Red Faction, you know you had some amazing times with it. It's sad to see, and I couldn't tell from the article or even from their Twitter, like, it's not like they were purchased or anything, so they're just going away. So that sucks.
Aren't they owned by Embracer now? Aren't they one of those ones who got bought out by Embracer?
Yes. So Embracer, what do they make again?
They own like a fuckload of shit, but like famously last week we talked about them hopefully shutting down limited run games next because they shut down. Oh, that was what I was talking about when I was talking about this. We're like, who's Embracer going to kill next? And I was like, limited run games. Kill limited run games. Fuck them.
That would be nice.
But Brian, you know what the biggest tragedy of Volition shutting down is? You know what game they made? One we love.
Saints Row and Red Faction.
The Punisher.
Oh, they did. That's right. Oh, that game is such a goddamn man. People throw around the word hidden gem way too often. Talk about a pure hidden gem.
A true gem left to die with, licensing and shit like that in the 6th gen. Man, what a fucking delight of a game that is. And I would kill for some kind of HD update for it, just with like a smooth, steady frame rate, maybe slightly cleaned up visuals.
Do that, add even more gory, like get NetherRealms to get them to do some of the gory effects of like those executions.
But Brian, then the women would be ugly.
God damn it. But yeah, I mean, here, let me take a quick little gander, if you will. List of their games. So yeah, their first game, Descent, Free Space. I don't know anything about that.
I never played Descent. Yeah.
Yeah, then Saints Row, Punisher, Insane, Agents of Mayhem. That's it. But man, good goddamn stable of games.
Yep,
it's
solid
sad.
Little developer. Fucking rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. So I'll toast one to them. Thank you for giving me one of the best superhero games ever. If you even just a shooter game, if you want to call it that, on the PS2.
And it holds up. Control-wise, it basically holds up for being like 20 years old.
Amazing. That Thomas Jane voice acting. Yeah, and did you ever play Saints Row? Any of them?
No, I never got around to any of them.
Such fun game. I mean,
I hear 3 and 4
Yeah.
super fun. I know 1 and 2 are just basically GTA knockoffs, but I do want to play
Yeah.
like 3 and 4.
3 and 4. I mean, there's something about, I think it's called a pulverizer, hitting someone with like a triple-sided dildo and launching them into space with it. Like, you need humor like that in a game. Like
And there's not enough of that in this world.
There's not at all. So, that sucks. Speaking of sucking, James. I don't know why I called you James. I meant to say Chambers, and I gave up halfway. What's going on with Sony?
I like giving up halfway of my nickname just turns into my name.
No one ever calls you James.
That is true, and really no one ever should. I'm not a James. That's a little too respectable.
So what's Sony up to these days?
Right,
Chambers?
Sony, speaking of respect, Sony is blatantly not respecting their goddamn user base because they are butt raping them with a big old price hike for all their subscription services.
Whew.
By as much as 35%.
So beginning next month, their PlayStation Plus Essential 12-month subscription is going to go to $80.
Bri, that's starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
As of this recording, we're recording on the 5th.
Yeah, so, yeah. The PlayStation Plus Extra goes for $135 for 12 months, and the PlayStation Plus Premium, the 12-month subscription, is $160. My God. And here's the deal. So they even throw in here that Microsoft increased Xbox Game Pass in July, with theirs being roughly $10 to $11 a month. So you're about $120-ish, depending on your tiers. So you're paying almost $60 more for PlayStation if you get the premium shit. And as we've said before, PlayStation, you might have some great games. You have some good stuff. I think their service is pretty cool. I actually didn't renew my latest one with them. The catalog wasn't enough for me to be like, this is a must-have. So, wow.
But like, isn't like the Plus Essential basically just like a couple games and like cloud saves, and that's really all you get from it?
It's useless. You got to go to Extra or Premium.
Yeah, so you got to spend like at least $100 to get like something kind of useful.
Which,
I mean, I guess over a year, like it's still.
Don't get me wrong.
It's still less. It's like, you know, $10 a month, less than $10 a month. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's still just kind of like, man, you motherfuckers, you're not giving the value for this price hike. You haven't proven that you have the value for this.
So here's what the tiers break down as. The PlayStation Plus Premium includes the Classics catalog, which includes game trials, cloud gaming, and then some of their monthly games, discounts, yada, yada, yada. The Extra includes Ubisoft Plus Classics and their full game catalog. And then the Essential is monthly games, online. So really, the Premium is only your game trials and cloud streaming. That's it. The Essential is where you're going to get everything else.
Ooh, wow. Wowie, wow. Right, that's a Borat boner and a half right there for that goddamn deal.
So it's...
Right, this is almost making PlayStation or Nintendo's service look good.
I mean, the price for Nintendo is so good right now. Well, except for all those expansions, because how much does each expansion cost?
Is it like $50 a year or something? I forget. Or you
it's
pay
20
50
for
or you pay
base,
50
right?
a year to. I think you have to pay an extra $50 a year to have both N64 and Genesis games.
So it's $20 up front for just the base service, right?
Right.
So yeah, so basically 50. So you're at like $70 a year. Which I guess it's still like, that's not the worst price in the world, but considering the catalog for those, it's not great either.
Yeah, but I mean, those are getting updates out the ass. Way more than the fucking shit on the basics getting. Like GBA.
I'm just waiting to see, like, are they ever going to pull titles off that? They keep adding so far. Will they start pulling shit back?
Remains to be seen. Very true.
Yeah. But no, we talked about this back in the day when Sony was trying to restructure their pricing altogether and this Plus service. And we thought it was ballsy. And I will say, I did enjoy, like, if you are just a PlayStation fan, you should get it. Because if you want some classic games, you want monthly games, you'll find value there. But for people like me and you, it's not going to be worth it to buy that full year.
Oh yeah, no, like I think I still have a subscription going, and I'm like, I'm just gonna let that run out because
that's what I did.
Yeah, I don't use it enough anyway, and well, I don't use it enough anyway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't draw me in enough to be like, oh yeah, I gotta spend the money on this.
Exactly. So I don't know how this affects them. This tied with the shit going on right now with the Activision sale, like I wonder how Sony's gonna fare in the next gen. With all this goofy shit they're doing. I'm sure it'll still be overall fine, but I wonder if like all of a sudden their stock drops down any significant amount.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're in a very weird spot with Sony right now because it's almost PS3-ish in a way. Not a lot of games that people are, running out to get. Very high prices for everything involved. A super expensive peripheral that no one bought. Yeah, we're in weird times with Sony.
Yeah. But Jim, let's keep talking about weird times. We talked earlier about AI, voice acting. Now, out of the goddamn fog, and this came to us about 6 days ago, Call of Duty is enlisting AI to help eavesdrop on voice chat and help ban toxic players starting 6 days ago.
Uh-oh.
All right. So the meme has always been kids today, if they could hear the Call of Duty lobbies.
Man, if you could hear Brian all these years ago playing Call of Duty with the boys. Oh, boy.
Listen.
I sat there and I was like, sir, I'm offended. How dare you?
Don't you dare, Jim. Don't you, of all people, dare.
I would never.
Uh-huh. But, I mean, the shit you would hear in lobbies, and that there is something so nostalgic when I find people who repost the old Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 or 3, and, like, you hear, like, when they sign in, the shit being yelled at you and stuff, like, people would crumble today. Kids today would crumble with this shit. Here's the thing.
Yeah, you know what, Brian? I'm going to challenge that, because you know what?
Go on.
If you watch random things or jump into random lobbies, you still kind of hear the same shit. It's almost timeless in a way, Brian. Like you can still sign in and hear like a Puerto Rican mom yelling at her kid, and you can hear a couple people yelling the N-word at each other. Still, it's like what's old is new. It's like one of those timeless things. Like if you play Call of Duty, this is what you're gonna be hearing. It happened in Modern 4. It's happening in Modern 7 Remastered, or whatever the fuck.
But here's the difference. What I'm explaining is, in Modern 4 and Modern 2, the originals, you would just hear it and just be like, you would recognize, that's just something you have to deal with.
Yeah, it's a game.
Kids today are like, I need to ban that. I need to get rid of that. This is not okay. And now that the fact that they're enlisting AI... I've talked about toxic gamers, toxic whatever. Listen, shit talking, hearing some of the most vile shit you can when you're playing these games. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. This is where, hey, I'll get on that bandwagon. I don't love it. It's the First Amendment shit, right? Like, you're trying to now ban people from talking. And I'm not saying whatever they're saying is wrong or right. But at the same time, I'm also saying, especially on a video game, it's literally someone's speech. And you're now, as you said, how many things would you go into and you hear just some of the most vile stuff? Sometimes you'd hear a lot of slurs, but this thing will not be able to differentiate who's saying these slurs. So if they hear it, they're going to ban a lot of people.
Fuck. No, you keep going. Keep going with your point, Brian, because it was a good point.
So they're going to ban a lot of people saying slurs that I'll just say could be saying those slurs.
Oh God, fuck it. Go away, Chrome update. I don't care, you motherfucker. All right, give me a second, Brian. So, one, before we get into all that, it's just like, you know what I think as a theory here?
Go on.
I don't think it's Call of Duty people who play Call of Duty who are calling for this. Because if you play Call of Duty, listen to people who play Call of Duty, they're the ones just saying this willy-nilly anyway. And, like, sure, some people probably getting offended here and there, but if you listen to the general populace and, like, you just, turn on, like, general chat, you're going to sit there and go, wow, like, these are people who are just... It's not like the hardcore gamers that you see on Twitter or on social media and shit like that. Like, they're not the Call of Duty crowd, especially in this day and age. So, and part of me is like, it almost seems like it's everyone else trying to moderate Call of Duty, even though it's a game that they would never choose to play at all.
They wouldn't be playing at all.
So, it's weird.
But if you look at here's the problem.
Right. Hold on. Sorry to cut you off. This is what I was looking for. So the article that's linked below is talking through, like, the corporate speak about why they're putting it in there and, trying to protect people and limiting stuff and how it modulates, it doesn't detect or identify the ethnicity of the individual speakers. But Bri, I love this paragraph. Terms like the N-word. While the N-word is typically considered a vile slur, many people who identify as black or brown have reclaimed it and use it positively within their communities. If someone says the N-word and clearly offends others in the chat, that will be rated much more severely than what appears to be reclaimed usage that is incorporated naturally into a conversation.
But here's the deal. That's my point.
Right. What is this Clerks 2? Are we taking it back?
Well, there's
Are they taking it back? Is everyone taking it back?
There's also a paragraph that mentions Tox Mod's flagging categories have gotten even more granular. In June, the module introduced a violent radicalization category to its voice chat moderation that can flag terms and phrases related to white supremacist group radicalization and extremism in real time. The list of what ToxMod claims to be detecting are here. Promotion or sharing ideology. Which right away I go, okay, that's a weird one. Recruitment or convincing others to join a group or movement. Targeting, grooming, or convincing vulnerable individuals, i.e. children and teens, to join a group or movement. Planning violent actions or actively planning to commit physical violence. All you're going to hear in Call of Duty is, yo, let's group together, go over here and kill these motherfuckers. Like, that is what you're saying during that game. Like...
Or you're hearing, hey, F-slur, I fucked your mom. You're not hearing, hey, join the Proud Boys. I think that would really reach out to you and let you express yourself. That's my point.
It's like...
This isn't shit that happens. We're Call of Duty players.
Shit I've ever heard of Call of Duty, it's never been like, hey, you know what's really cool doing that? Like, you've never tried to recruit people through Call of Duty, of all things, or video games. That shit happens everywhere else, but I can promise you, I've heard lots of vile shit. I've heard lots of shit about how people want to kill me, how people want to do that, like getting mad at games. But never has someone tried to be like, hey, do you want to join a group? Like, I guess here's my question, Jim.
Right. Far be it from me to call anyone racist, but I mean, if this tech mod listens to a conversation and goes, you know what, they sound black, so it's okay. Sounds a little racist to me.
Well, that's a problem, is like, it's going to have to denote a level of like...
Right, what if Rick Astley is playing Call of Duty? Is he just going to be willy-nilly to say whatever he wants? Is that the world you want to live in?
Here's my question, Jim.
God, I want to hear Rick Astley AI saying slurs now.
I guess my question is, would things be better? Let me play devil's advocate. If this AI could remove, as we've said, there are plenty of toxic communities on online communities in gaming. If you could remove that and that shit of like people blaring out slurs and saying the shit that people say, would that be a better place?
I guess. But, I mean, all right, Brian, you want to play devil's advocate? Let's play devil's advocate.
I'm just asking the questions, Jim.
In theory, yes. But wouldn't you just want to have a nice little controlled environment where people can just get these frustrations out? And if it's an environment where people know what they're getting into at that point, and they kind of just go, yeah, it's a Call of Duty lobby, what are you going to do? Wouldn't you rather they just all do it there than do it somewhere else? Somewhere that will actually affect people, like, in a different spot who want to be in Call of Duty?
if I could use my tinfoil hat on this, Jim.
And not to mention, oh, yeah, I'm very much sure that this, AI listening device will never leak anyone's information and ruin their fucking lives with what they say in a goddamn Call of Duty lobby. I'm sure would never, ever happen, ever.
I mean, I'm more worried about that aspect of, like, the information collected of, like, whether right or wrong. I'm saying, like, if you were just on a game, whatever happens, like, let's say you were just like, well, fuck you, I want to, you should go kill yourself. That honestly could be rated as something as, like, enough to ban you from that if you suggest do personal harm to yourself. And then what if you get kicked off that, and then that information is, like, shared with everyone else because you were just in the heat of a moment talking shit to somebody. And then it's like, to your point, what if that information is now shared? That's where I'm like, yeah, I don't like that at all. Like, so there's so many. Do you just let it continue to be a Wild West? Like, do the old system. I don't know if it ever worked. If someone's going above and beyond, like, I'm never okay with doxing shit. I'm never okay with. If there is any of this shit of targeted grooming, yeah, get rid of shit like that.
But what have you heard about grooming in Call of Duty, though?
Never. But if there is just people shit talking, I don't. Even if they're saying the worst shit in the world,
fucking yeah, like you know what? Hey, Brian, here's a newsflash for the people making this shit out there. Maybe you should put something like this in Smash communities with their discords and shit like that. You want to talk about grooming and shit like that?
I don't know. This just seems.
Call of Duty, you call someone a bitch and you move along your merry way.
You're going to talk, like, what if now, like, just shit talking is banned? As someone, I myself, I don't like shit talking. If you shit talk to me, though, then it's on. I'm going to open up the floodgates and I'm going to shit talk right back to you. I don't like doing that shit, but I get it. It's part of the fun. Like, if you're like, I'm going to beat your ass, fuck you, da-da-da, start talking about each other's moms, isn't that? Like, you're going to go down that whole path. But if, say, you start doing that and they deem your version of what you're saying is too violent, and then all of a sudden you're banned, that shouldn't be allowed if you're just talking shit. So that's what I worry about. It's like, are we really trying to create a safe bubble in Call of Duty where they're going to protect you from the speech, but yes, you can still shoot someone in the face and stab them in the neck and do all these terribly violent things. Like, think about what we're talking about here. You're protecting people from voices that they don't have to listen to, that they can mute and already get rid of and block. But the violence on screen is fine.
Yeah. That's also a thing where it's like, it's very easy to not listen to anybody talk in that game.
It's
extremely easy.
Especially Call of Duty, since Call of Duty, like, 2 has an option to automatically mute everyone in the lobby. Like, it's one button. It's not even like you need to go one by one. So this is just, I don't know. I don't like that. It's way too far. I think it's a terrible idea because I think the consequences of what it could lead to, I'm not cool with. If you don't like someone, ignore them, block them, mute them, all this other shit, I'm not okay with. I don't care what you say, Jim. Not okay with it. I don't need government listening to me. I know you like it, but I don't.
Look, Brian, who better to listen to us? Who better to tell us what we need? It's our best interest, Brian. You just don't appreciate it. That's your problem. Sitting there bitching about your pronouns, letting Call of Duty listen to you. Look at you.
Jim, all I'm going to say is be ready, because in about 2 months when we get the new Call of Duty game, they're listening to you.
Well, I don't have the new Xbox yet, so I don't know. I don't know. That tradition might be broken,
Brian. PS5,
Brian.
you're fine. It's crossplay.
Yeah, I don't have a headset for it, though.
You literally use whatever headset you have for a or Xbox.
Oh, can I just plug that shit in?
Yeah, it's just a jack.
Oh.
Come on.
I know something about jacks.
Chamber, so did you go over the California limit of 2 beers a week?
Brian, I doubled my weekly intake just tonight. It's not even talking about what I had yesterday either. Uh-oh.
Jim, so I see you're not drinking Bud Light, so you're still supporting the good fight with Coors.
If I could, I would, Brian.
What I'll say about this is, yes, there's a little tinge of expiredness, but it's like, if you've ever opened up anything expired, you're like, it might not be super fresh, but still pretty damn good. A lot of malts. But what I don't like about the Munich-style Dunkels is, I guess the only word I can use is like, it's like that stale bread taste. You know what I'm talking about? When you get some of these lager styles.
Yeah.
That like, it's not bitter. It's just like,
It's just bad.
It's like, yeah, kind of stale-ish. Makes me want to go brush my teeth right away. But other than that, I think it is pretty damn good. I would love to have a fresh one. And yeah, play Starfield.
Well, Bri, if you buy one now, you'll be able to enjoy it by 2025.
Don't worry, Jim.
Future
I'm
proof.
saving you one. Don't worry.
Good. I have my chunky boy.
But with that, everyone, we want to say thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, hit the subscription, give us a 5-star rating, and we will read each and every one of those reviews, even if you want to bash us. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.